Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for your continued support. Right, so we know for a fact that a lot of people are going to be worse off because of these benefit cuts and things like this, and we know that there are going to be lots of repercussions involved as a result of this. And one of the things is in an article which I'm not going to read verbatim, but I'm going to leave a link to it if you want to read it yourself. But this article is now saying that, as many people have said in my comments, that the knock-on effect of these cuts, if they go through, is going to be an extra burden on local councils. Now, the reason for that is because if, as an example, someone has a change in their PIP circumstances, they may lose PIP or they may get less of it, that may then have a knock-on effect to their carer. Now, if their carer gets carer's allowance, which, let's face it, isn't a huge amount of money anyway, but especially for the work they do, but if that person then loses their carer's allowance, one of two things are going to happen. Either the carer is going to have to carry on without getting paid, which is a difficult situation. And let's be clear on this, that the carer's allowance, or at least it was before it worked, the carer's allowance actually comes out of the person you're caring for's money. It's not paid additionally by the government. It comes out of the person you're caring for's money. So if this person then is not available to get carer's allowance, one of two things are going to happen. Firstly, they're going to carry on doing the job because it's a loved one or it's a family member or something like that, so they're just going to carry on doing it without any benefit in terms of the money to help them do that job. The other situation is that the person who's caring for them can no longer do it because they can't afford it, and so that person's care, the disabled person's care, will then go into the hands of the local council. Now, the local councils are not very happy with this situation because they feel that this is going to be an additional cost on their budgets, and we all know that social care that's delivered by councils is very hit and miss. Some councils do a very good job, some councils not quite so much. We all know that councils have a huge problem at the moment with their budgets. I mean, is it Birmingham, I think, that's a lot of their refuse workers are on strike, so they've got a huge issue going on at the moment. There's lots of pressures on local councils going on, and they're saying this is going to be a huge additional problem for them, because they've estimated that for every £1 a disabled person loses in benefits, it costs the local council £1.50. So it's going to be adding costs to the local councils. Now, the problem with that is local councils aren't just going to fund that without without trying to get it back somewhere else. So what they're going to do is they're going to add it to the council tax, and the council tax is going to go up. So then you've got people who are, then you've got taxpayers paying additional money to pay for the care of these people who are disabled, who previously would have paid for it themselves or would have got a family member to help them. And plus the fact that a lot of disabled people, especially people getting universal credit, pay a proportion of council tax anyway, so they're going to effectively be paying for their own care. So this is one of the issues that I think is driving the situation for many councillors. Are now leaving the Labour Party. They're leaving the local councils because they object to the cuts, and I think this is probably one of the reasons why, because they know the council is going to be ending up footing the bill. And we all know how difficult things are at the moment in terms of adult social care. So it's very difficult, I think, from that perspective. And I don't think, as I've said before, the government really understands this situation. I think that they just see it, and many people have said the same thing. This is just a cost-cutting exercise. They haven't looked into the situation effectively enough to know what the impact is going to be. They might have done an impact assessment on how many people are going to be worse off because of the cuts, but they might not have done an impact assessment on, okay, what other services are going to be under pressure here. The NHS are going to be under pressure because people will lose benefits, maybe will lose access to vital services that they may have been paying for. They may lose the money to take certain medication, because not every disabled person gets free prescriptions. So it might be that they can't afford their prescriptions, and therefore they get ill because they can't afford their medication. These things have a knock-on effect that the government don't really see, because then you've got people going to A&E or to to the NHS because of it. Same thing happened with the winter fuel payments. A lot of people were saying that there'll be more elderly people in hospital now because of the situation, and we have seen an increase in flu and other diseases this winter, and whether a lot of that is to do with winter fuel payment, I don't know. I don't have those figures, but if anyone knows, do let me know, because I would love to see it. So these are huge knock-on effect, and I think that this is going to be a mounting pressure on the government as well, because I think they're losing a number of local councillors. I think that the councils are now going to start wondering how are we going to pay for this additional social care that you've taken off of benefit people, because I mean, you know, it's going to go an extra burden on the taxpayer, and you know, people on benefits do pay taxes. A lot of people think that people who are on benefits don't pay taxes. Of course they do. They pay VAT just like anyone else does. They're not exempt from VAT. If they buy something, if they use a service, they still have to pay tax on that. So, you know, this is one of the things, trying to dispel these myths that goes around everywhere that people jump on the bandwagons about. But anyway, I'll leave a link to this article which talks about it in a bit more detail, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Would you trust your local council's adult social care to look after you if, as an example, if your carer, for example, couldn't no longer care for you if they lost their attendance, if they lost their carer's allowance? You know, if it got to the point where your carer could no longer do the job because of this, would you trust the local adult services to help you, adult social care? Would they be good enough, do you think? Let me know down in the comment section what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts on this. Please do subscribe if you've got this far, and I will see you next time.